Publishing your first book is a huge life achievement, and you would expect your friends to support you, right? So, would it make your friend a jerk if they didn't congratulate you on doing so? Well, we'll get into that story in just a bit, but first, am I the jerk for keeping secrets from my grandma because she ruined the gender reveal? My husband and I are almost 30 and about to have our first baby in December. This is after multiple miscarriages and adoptions falling through. I've been telling my close family all the details from the beginning in case I lose this baby as well. I wanted to wait to announce to the world, but my grandmother kept pestering me about just letting her tell everyone since she's, quote, so excited. It made her visibly distraught when I told her I wanted to announce to the world on my own terms. When I finally announced to our church, she was upset I hadn't allowed her to do it earlier because I'm already getting big enough to notice. Now, we found out the gender last week, and I told her this morning I wanted to wait to announce to the world. I didn't want a gender reveal party, but I still wanted to be able to tell everyone on my own terms. She didn't care for my answer and told everyone in our church, we have a very small town's community, the gender this morning when I wasn't around. Church members just began walking to me saying, "Congratulations on baby's gender." My sister saw I was obviously distraught and told my grandma to stop telling people, which upset her more. Now I feel I can no longer share information about my baby without her going behind my back and telling everyone every little detail. My father says I'm overreacting because this baby is all she has. She already has 3 other great-grandchildren she wants nothing to do with. Am I the jerk for not wanting her involved in my progress anymore? I just want information released when I'm comfortable to. No, OP, you're not the jerk, and under no circumstances, regardless of what the topic in question is it okay to out somebody with their personal secrets? It's just not okay. D. Harling97 commented, "Not the jerk. Ask your grandmother if she wants to make this her 4th great-grandbaby that she has nothing to do with, because it can be easily arranged." Also, hey everybody, my name is Brendan, and if you guys enjoy these Am I the Jerk videos, it would be so nice, so awesome if you like the video and commented down below if you're listening to our podcast. Now then, our next story is, Am I the jerk? Ask my neighbor to move their little farm stand because people are stealing from my garden. Before anyone says, just build a fence, we can't afford it right now. And no HOA. My neighbor set up one of those pantries, farm stands, where people can take items that they grew in their garden, pantry stuff, donated stuff, etc. In theory, it's a great idea, and typically in a time when life in America sucks butt and people are struggling to make ends meet, my family included. The problem: people started coming into my yard to pick things in my garden. I've put up signs saying not to do it. I installed rabbit fences around the garden. I've angled a tarp so you can't see what's there from the road. People just hold their kids over the fence to pick tomatoes and beans or jump it. I ended up getting into an argument with a lady over it. I yelled, "Hey, stop, those are not for you to take." She told her kid to move faster and then tried to run away. I caught up to her and asked her what the freak her problem was, and she turned it into how dare I swear in front of her child. Why am I so angry? Am I really that upset about a couple tomatoes? I said I am upset that you're stealing from me. The next day, I approached my neighbor. I asked if I could maybe help move it to the other side of their driveway so it's next to the other neighbor's house. They don't have a garden out front. They said at least not until the end of the season. I asked if they could make larger signs, talk to people, just do something. They were like, "Can you really not afford to share?" I said that they aren't taking my zucchini because they're starving. They're taking my tomatoes because they want them. They said that I'm going to have to learn to live with it for now, and we can talk about a solution together that will benefit the whole community after. I said I do not care about a solution that benefits the whole community. I care about a solution that stops people from stealing from me. So last night it happened again. Man in his 50s. I sprayed his butt with the hose. He started yelling at me, and after a minute or so, the neighbor came out yelling at me too. People have posted on the neighborhood board to be careful if they come by because I'm a jerk. The neighbor says I'm scaring people away from a community resource. I told them that I'm going to continue until he does something about the freaking thieves who feel entitled to my garden. I feel like I'm losing my freaking mind here. Am I the jerk for asking them to move it? Am I the jerk for being ticked off that people are freaking stealing from me? This is food for my family. First off, thanks for the responses. I got some good ones, and I'm happy that so many of you live in places where the cops would do anything about this. But this isn't the reality I'm living. Cops here would not give a crap if I sent them a video of someone picking from my garden. They would laugh in my face. Be thankful you live in a place where the police are useful. It looks like signs are the best option for now. Going to make signs indicating heavy use of pesticides and repeating that they're stealing food from the mouths of hungry children. I don't know why the signs we already have up aren't enough. Maybe more will help. I'm sure they won't. We'll also scour Craigslist for free fencing or similar items. Hopefully that pans out. The sense of entitlement just never ceases to amaze me, and you've kind of been pushed to this point of borderline insanity, spraying people with hoses and acting like a crazy person because they just will not respect your request to not have them take things from your garden. So no, not the jerk, and I hate that it got this far. Hyper Kangaroo commented, "Not the jerk. They're literally volunteering your garden as the community veggie resource. That's why it's next to your garden. It's incredibly inappropriate." Our next story is, "Am I the jerk for expecting to see a receipt before paying my half of the grocery shopping? I live with my girlfriend and we split rent and bills 50-50. This includes the grocery shopping. My girlfriend does grocery shopping with her mom every 2 weeks. I've offered to go instead, but she likes going and spending time with her mom. She'll go shopping and then tell me how much it was, and I'll transfer her half of the money. This has worked fine, but I've started noticing she's coming back with things that are just for her and not groceries. An example of this is a few weeks ago, she came back with some new trousers and shirts for work. The time after that was a lot of food specifically for her to take to work, and then this weekend she came back with a jacket. The bill this week was a lot higher than usual, so I asked if it was because of the jacket, and she said yeah. I told her that I'm meant to be paying for groceries and not her clothes. I said my half should be including the groceries only. I said from now on I think we should either go together or she should show me the receipt when she gets back. She said I wasn't being reasonable, but I pointed out that I shouldn't be buying her clothes and she shouldn't be expecting me to pay for stuff she decides she wants. I said I'm paying for groceries and that's it. She again said I wasn't being fair and that it's not like she's getting a lot, but I refuse to pay for half going forward unless I'm there when the shopping is being done or she shows me a receipt so I know I'm only paying for the groceries. Am I the jerk for refusing to keep paying for half of the grocery shopping? This one's kind of tricky because you're not just casual roommates, you're in a relationship and presumably have plans to be together long term, so in that case, like a 50-50 split I think is less reasonable of an accommodation. I don't know, it just depends on the dynamics of the relationship. I get where you're coming from, but this is your girlfriend, potentially future fiance/wife. It's like, do you really want to keep fighting this battle forever? I don't know. Spiritual Bridge 3027 replied, "You have a bigger problem than seeing the receipts for groceries. Seems like your girlfriend expects you to take care of her, buying her stuff like clothes, accessories, personal care items, food, etc. And it doesn't sound like you signed up for it. You need to be clear about your financial expectations from this relationship, and if you both are not on the same page, end it right now. Not the jerk." Our next story is, "Am I the jerk for telling my friend she can yank her child when she has one?" Title sounds weird, I know, but I, 28-year-old female, had a friend, 26-year-old female, that I used to hang out with a lot. Recently, we got into an accident where someone rear-ended me. I had my baby in the car, 3 months. After the crash, baby was absolutely hysterical. Of course she would be. My friend then tried to scramble in the mix of it to take her out of her car seat. I do admit I may have said it harshly to not remove the baby from their car seat until first responders got to us. The car was not on fire and we were not in any mortal danger. On a normal day, anytime my baby gets to the point of hysteria, I soothe them, hug them, rock them, etc. That was a once-in-a-blue-moon occurrence I didn't. I kept trying to shush and soothe the baby from the seat, but obviously she was scared and wanted her mama to hold her. At the hospital, both my friend and I got the all clear, and we were waiting on the baby to be cleared. My friend went off on me, telling me I'm a bad mom for not removing the baby from the car seat. I simply explained to her it was better for the baby to stay in the seat in case there was spinal damage. The seat keeps the spine aligned, and removing the baby from the car seat would cause further injury if there was already one. She kept berating me. I was frustrated already, and I told her when she has her own, and God forbid they get into a crash, she can yank her kid out of the car seat and do as she pleases. She got quiet and said I'm a jerk for bringing it up because she has trouble conceiving. She has PCOS and may not be able to carry a pregnancy to term. I don't think I'm the jerk for bringing up a hypothetical situation, or I don't know if my frustration got the best of me and I was insensitive, but am I the jerk for making that statement? No, I don't think so, but I do get the frustration on both sides. One thing I will say is, like, anyone that's worked with children before knows that anytime there's like a fall or an accident like that, you absolutely do have to keep them in place. It's kind of like instinctively removing like an arrow or a puncture wound from your body. It's counterintuitive to leave it in, but you really should do so. So, yeah, I'm not a doctor. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Skitter commented, "You said when she has her own child, and not if you ever manage to get the breeding thing figured out. So I feel like you're perfectly aware and supportive of her condition. I don't think your phrasing was offensive, just realistic." Our next story is, am I the jerk for matching my husband's energy for Father's Day? I, female, 35, have been married to my husband, male, 36, for going on 15 years. When we were dating, he was the sweetest, most romantic man I had ever met. He called me beautiful every day, sent good morning messages, and talked about how amazing I was and how he couldn't wait to start our lives together. We got married and he changed almost immediately. There's way too much to go into, but I'll focus on one thing. Before marriage, he made sure every occasion was special and sweet. After, he acknowledged nothing. Our first real fight was the first Valentine's Day as a married couple. I told him for weeks that I'd like to do something nice, and when the day came, he had done nothing. We went to the gym. I had gotten him something small, and only expected something small in return. I told him that I was hurt that he didn't take any time at all to put a single thought into it. He claimed that it was a stupid Hallmark holiday to make you spend money. I told him I didn't care about fancy dinners out, and I didn't want him to spend a ton of money, just literally any effort at all. This whole time, I was getting him small gifts, making cookies or brownies or a birthday cake. When we were invited to his family's holidays, I made desserts to bring along. I bought the presents, too. I've had enough. I never stopped doing it all because I enjoy doing nice things for the person I care about. But this year, I decided to match his energy and see if he even noticed. For Mother's Day, he had nothing planned and got me nothing. We went out to brunch with my mom, which was planned, so for Father's Day, I made no plans and I still couldn't manage to get him nothing, so I got him a dad shirt and said it was from the kids. He seemed really disappointed. I let it be and let him think on it for a while, and finally asked like a week later how he felt about how Father's Day went. He admitted that he was hurt that he had to plan the day himself and that I made it clear that the t-shirt was from the kids and not me. He was really disappointed, but he figured I was stressed and just didn't get around to doing anything. So I told him that I decided from now on I'm matching his energy and effort because I'm sick of being neglected while he always gets things from me. He said, well, that's not a great way to go about things. So I said, what should I have done? Talk to you about it? I've been doing that for 15 years and nothing has ever changed. My birthday and our anniversary are coming up, so we'll see what happens. I already warned him that I planned every single anniversary, and even though this is a big one, 15, I'm not planning anything. He still thinks I was overreacting and kind of a female dog the way I handled Father's Day, but I literally just acted like he has for every single special occasion for me for our whole marriage. So, am I the jerk? By the way, divorce is not an option right now, so please, if that's all you're going to say, just don't comment. Please, that's not helpful. No, P, you're not the jerk, and don't let this guy gaslight you into thinking that you have done anything wrong. You know, he has a whole lot of nerve to act hurt and upset when he doesn't get this lavishly planned out Father's Day thing when he literally does nothing for you. So I agree. Even in marriage, there's still quid pro quo that exists, and he's not doing his half of that for sure. C Owl 6146 commented, not the jerk. You're not the jerk, but really you've brought this on yourself. You stayed with this person who doesn't care about you for 15 years expecting things to be different, and now you want to complain about it. You should have gotten divorced a long time ago. And OP replied to this, oh, I know. Believe me, I'm not claiming to be anywhere near perfect, and if I had the means to, I would have left him years ago. I honestly feel like I have no options. I won't get into it past that because there are too many people are rude about it. But believe me, if it was an option for me that wouldn't traumatize all of us, it would have happened a long time ago. Our next story is: am I the jerk for leaving a family group chat about my mother in law after being excluded for 2 days and watching everyone suddenly act like they care? My husband and I have been together for 12 years, married for 7. For the past year and a half, he's been the sole caregiver for his mom, who has early dementia. He stepped up, completely bathing her, dressing her, changing her, managing her meds, all of it. I work full-time to support both of us so he could focus on her full-time. It's been emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausting, especially for him. He's one of 6 kids, and they all live within 30 minutes. Not a single one helped. Not one. It was just him and his dad, day in and day out, while the rest of the family ghosted. Well, her condition recently progressed, and she had to be placed in a care home. Suddenly, everyone comes out of the woodwork like they've been involved this whole time. One sister-in-law made a big family group chat called Sweet Mama D and sent this dramatic message like, "Hey everyone, Mama D has been placed in a home, so let's all continue being there for her. This is also a space to share memories and support each other." Excuse me? Continue? Nobody but my husband and his dad have been there. What are y'all continuing exactly? And to make it worse, I wasn't even included in the group chat, but people from other states and even literal 13-year-old cousins were added. My husband knew I wasn't in it, but I said, let's just give it a few days. Well, during those 2 days, they continued adding others, just not me. After 2 days, my husband added me. I immediately left the group. When asked why, I told them plainly, we gave it 2 days. Nobody thought to add me or even mention me. At this point, I don't want to be in it. Now I'm being told I'm childish and making this about me. But I'm sorry, I was there. Every single day, supporting my husband while he broke down watching his mom lose herself. And now that she's in a home, these people want to play loving family and post old photos like they've been in the trenches too? So, am I the jerk for leaving the group chat and being over it? Or are they just mad because I didn't pretend along with the group hug energy? Edit. My husband and me were sitting in bed right next to each other when the group chat started, and I was like, I didn't get that message. He looked and was like, oh, you didn't get added. So I said, let's give it a few days because it's a lot going on right now, and after 2 days, she added some more people, and that's when he added me. I was at work and saw I was added by him and left because I didn't want to be in it at that point. My sister-in-law made the chat and was the person adding everyone. Her husband is one of the siblings. Definitely seems intentional, frustration's valid. I'm just gonna keep it simple and say not the jerk. Dope Since 85 replied, yeah, I'm confused about why she chose that as the reason to provide instead of the real issue that she posted about. Leaving the group chat because she wasn't included, possibly an oversight, etc., doesn't have the same weight and validity to it as the actual reason she's upset. Had she explained her feelings about them leaving her husband alone to help with their mom, she'd be 100% in the right and have much more of a leg to stand on. The reason she gave could be perceived as petty, not that I'm saying it is. She should have just stuck to what's actually been upsetting her this whole time. And those people need to hear it. This was the perfect opportunity to call them out on their selfishness. Our next story is, am I the jerk for my family attending a close friend's funeral instead of my brother's baby shower? My family lost a dear friend and mentor/father figure of over 20 years to my husband. The services will be the same day as my brother's first baby shower. Both of these events require travel. During the initial planning stages of the baby shower, my family was scheduled to help my mom prepare the food and decorations and obviously attend the celebration. I was always supposed to travel in a few days before everyone to help with preparations and spend time with my parents, brother, and his wife as they also live out of state. When we got the news of the service times from our friend, I let my mom know that it was the same day as the shower and we wouldn't be able to make it. My husband is giving the eulogy, but that I still wanted to come that week and help her spend time with them, but would leave early so we could attend the funeral. She's mad at me, told me not to come, that hardly no one was going to be at the baby shower, and she's hurt that this was my choice. I spoke to my brother and told him of the situation, and he said I was making the right decision by going to the funeral. According to my mom, that was just lip service, as what was he supposed to say? The choice was already made. And they're all so hurt that we won't be there. She won't pick up the phone when I call, and I got these details via a few short texts. Am I the jerk? I'm going to say no. It's hard to diminish the importance of events like this, but I think a funeral definitely takes precedent over a baby shower, all other things being equal. So it's difficult. I understand certainly why they're upset, but yeah, I mean, I think you made the right choice. Background Hope 1905 commented, "Not the jerk. A baby shower is just the first of many hellos. Your friend's funeral is the last chance to say goodbye." Our next story is, "Am I the jerk for not reminding my mom's husband of her birthday? He's been married to her for 2 years, dated for one before that. I, 26, knew he's quite busy, but didn't think he would forget. On mom's birthday, my brother and I got her one present each. Her favorite actress is starring in a new series, so I bought her the novel it's based on, so she can read it before the show is released. My brother got her a Pop Mart figurine. When we went over to their house and her husband realized that he forgot, he got upset. He said we should have warned him since we know how much time he spends at work and that things can slip his mind." No, absolutely not. He does not get to project his irresponsibility onto other people. Come on, not the jerk, not the jerk, not the jerk. He needs to remember that. Our next story is, "Am I the jerk for not letting my niece sew me a dress for my big career moment because she doesn't do a good job? I love my niece, and I support her creative expression. I told her that she could make me a dress for running around the house, running errands, hanging out, etc. I'm happy to wear something she's made at times where it's appropriate. I've worn the acrylic scarf she crocheted me for a few years now, and it's not because it looks good. She uses YouTube and TikTok tutorials, so she doesn't know how to work off patterns, make tailoring adjustments, choose the right fabric, etc. On TikTok and other social media spaces, the cool thing to do is announce that you made your garment from a ratty, thrifted sheet using an old pair of shorts you had lying around. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. But she doesn't take the time to do things like pressing or finishing steams, trimming or sewing in ends, etc. When I've suggested it to her, she said it's more authentic the way she does it. She begged me to do an outfit for an event I have coming up where I'll be on stage. I tried to let her down gently and said that I had a dress being tailored as we speak. She said I could wear that one to something else, but that I should wear something she made because it would be special and a bonding experience for us. Everyone in my family is obsessed with bonding experiences. Everything has to be a bonding experience between the adults and kids. It's exhausting. I reiterated my no, saying, "No, I don't want you to make me anything." Her mom, my sister-in-law, is telling me that I care way too much about my appearance and my image. This is an event related to my career. The last thing I need to do is walk up on stage in something that doesn't fit or looks like it was made with a sheet. And especially because I'm plus-sized, how I look is judged more harshly. Sister-in-law complaining about me being superficial is not new. I dared to buy one designer bag for myself, and she did the whole thing you see on Reels. The whole stupid, I would just thrift a bag and put the rest of my money in the bag bit. I was briefly engaged, and she would not shut up about how I supposedly wanted a wedding, not a marriage, because I dared to want to pick out my own decor and not just use whatever she could scrounge up on Marketplace or get for sale at the craft store. My career is the most important thing in the world to me right now. Obviously, for my sister-in-law, her child is the most important thing in the world to her. But am I correct to put my career ahead of her child's feelings, or do my values automatically make me a jerk? Not the jerk, and once again, I don't understand the gaslighting and the outside pressure being applied to make someone do something that they're not obligated or compelled to do. I don't get it. Matoriu commented, "Not the jerk. Your sister is giving major, I would let my kid sing to an airplane full of people energy here." Our next story is, "Am I the jerk for telling my OCD roommate to get over it? I'm Jewish. My roommate is not. I asked her if it was okay with her if I put my mezuzah by our front door. For those who don't know, this is a small rectangular case that's affixed to the wall or door frame that holds a scroll. We're supposed to have it by our front door. She said it was fine. I ordered one and put it up. The mezuzah is supposed to tilt a little toward the door and not be straight up and down. I hung it the correct way, and she got angry, saying she needed it to be straight. I informed her that it isn't traditionally hung that way. I did straighten it a little, but kept it a slight tilt. She was still angry about it, like screaming angry. I reminded her that I endure the absolute explosion of Christmas decorations every year and never complain. And this is just a little piece of metal. She said it was different, since it set off her OCD, and I said I would just take it down then. So I took it down, and there were holes in the wall where I had screwed it into the wall. I paid for maintenance to fill them, but the fill he used was a slightly different shade than the rest of the wall. Apparently, that also sets off her OCD, and she's angry with me now. I was just so done with the whole situation, and said she really just needs to get over it. She said I was the jerk for saying that, since she has OCD. Is she right? Nah, just sounds like you need a new roommate. I mean, OCD or not, you took the thing down that was bothering her and then she's complaining about how the wall looks afterwards. That is OCD in a vacuum. I mean, I do agree with that, but my God, like you two shouldn't be roommates. Crabwalk Blurfing commented, "She's the jerk. I'm diagnosed with almost extreme OCD, and I would never scream at a roommate or anyone for my problems. It would be quite difficult to endure something that triggered my OCD, but I would endure it for something like that. It's not on you to make her life as easy as possible. She kinda sounds like a brat." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling a lady to put her dog back in the carrier on the airplane? I, 35-year-old male, had to fly to LA this morning on Delta, and I had an aisle seat. It was a smaller plane with 2 seats per ride. No TV or movies on this flight, and I wasn't paying for Wi-Fi, so just me and my music. 10 minutes into the flight, the lady, 40s, across the aisle, was moving around and trying to get in her personal item. She busts out a dog. In my head, I'm like, what the freak? I'm not dog friendly, so I tell the lady firmly, you better put the dog back in the carrier. She says it's cramped in the carrier, and the dog would rather be in her lap. I tell her to put it away or this can be a bigger scene for you. She reluctantly put it away. The rest of the flight, she would baby talk the dog and call me the jerk. I complained to the flight attendants after the flight. Am I the jerk? Yeah, I'm gonna go with kind of. I mean, yeah, she did, violate the rules of the flight by taking the dog out of the carrier, but the way that OP handled this, kind of a little too aggro, borderline threatening, so yes, I'm gonna go with soft, you're the jerk. Cats Lady 123 commented, everybody sucks here because that lady should have kept her dog in the carrier, which is Delta's policy, and you better put that dog back in the carrier is just not how you talk to other people when you want them to do something for you out of the gate. Next time, just call the flight crew and ask them to handle it. FurDude58 replied, exactly. People thinking they're the ones to enforce the rules and regulations for others is a huge cause of people getting into huge confrontations. Get out of your seat and go talk to the flight crew if you don't want the other passenger to know it was you that ratted her out. At the very least, hit the call button and voice your concern, and be prepared for staff to not do what you want. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not congratulating my friend on publishing a book? So, a friend of mine recently self-published a children's book on Amazon. She made a big announcement on social media about how excited she was to start this new chapter in her life as an author. She also texted me about it, and I responded that it was really cool and that I'd buy a copy when I could afford it. I also asked what the story is about, and she told me I'd have to buy it to find out. Later, my husband saw the cover and was curious if it was AI generated. I asked my friend who her illustrator was, and she said she'd use Canva AI. Personally, I didn't care either way, so I just didn't reply to that message right away. A few hours later, she followed up asking why I had asked. I wasn't on my phone, so I didn't see it right away. When I didn't respond again, she sent another message basically saying, "Are you going to reply or not?" I told her I was just curious. I didn't want to mention that someone else thought it looked like AI, since I felt that would come across as rude. She then sent a long message along the lines of, I already have one friend criticizing my book, and then there's you. No congratulations, just asking about the artwork as if you're trying to find something negative. So why don't you be honest about why you're asking? I replied, please calm down. I can't afford to buy your book right now. When people are proud of something, they usually enjoy talking about it, so I thought asking questions was a way to show I was interested. She didn't respond after that. Later, her husband, who I work with, mentioned that she was upset I didn't congratulate her. I have no choice but to be at their house soon for an overnight visit, and I'm already dreading any potential awkwardness. Should I approach her once I'm there, or just camp out in the guest room and hole up until the last minute? Me and him will have a tight schedule that morning to avoid any potential conversation. I genuinely wasn't trying to downplay her new book. The first thing that came to my mind was to ask questions to show support since I couldn't buy it, but now I'm wondering if I was unintentionally dismissive. OP, not the jerk in this situation, but I do think that you need to address it when you're at their house and not hole up in a corner and avoid all contact. That's usually the worst way to overcome challenges like this with other people. Just talk it out. Outrageous Round 2032 replied, "Not the jerk, and this is tickling me. It sounds like you're not the first person to ask her if it's AI. To me, you saying that sounds cool is enough gratification. It seems like she was already insecure that she used AI, or other people have critiqued her for it, so she automatically took it as judgment." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not letting my sister ride in my car? I, 17-year-old female, bought an old car off a family member about a year ago. My sister, 14-year-old female, seems to think that this means she should get automatic rights to ride in my car when she starts high school. I would not have a problem with this, except for the fact that she wears her cowboy boots everywhere. These boots she wears out to feed her horses and goats and doesn't clean them off afterwards. She owns other shoes, and my car has cloth interior. I've asked her to either wear other shoes and I can put a box or bucket in the truck to store her cowboy boots, yet she refuses. Then will go and call me names over it, and I should just accept the fact that my car will get dirty. Admittedly, I am sort of a neat freak, especially when it comes to my car, because it's the first big thing that I own. When the conversation came of her riding in my car to high school after the summer, I refused. Not only over her wearing the boots, but because it's extremely disrespectful towards me in general. I woke up at 6 a.m. to catch the bus for my first 2 years of high school, and with her attitude, I think she should do the same. Am I just being a neat freak, or do I actually have a standing here? You're not a jerk hero. It sounds like your sister, as you said, feels entitled and, privileged to use your vehicle. And, you have every right to refuse that, especially if she's not going to play by your rules. Tyrannosaurus Wrecked commented, "Not the jerk, and from a livestock husbandry standpoint, your sister is practicing lousy biosecurity." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling off my future sister-in-law when she didn't want to invite my younger brother to her wedding? I, 23-year-old female, have an older brother, Drew, 26-year-old male, who's getting married at the end of this summer. To say it lightly, me and his fiancée, Lacey, 25-year-old female, do not get along. She's very stuck up and has made some snide comments to me and my younger brother, Max, 16-year-old male. For context, Max has always been the black sheep of the family. He's very academically and artistically talented, but my father and mother are disappointed in his lack of sports. Cliché, I know. Not to mention, they've favored my sister, his twin, Caroline, 16-year-old female. Max and Lacey were civil for a while, but I guess I haven't seen them speak in a long time for reasons unknown to me. The problem occurred last night when I was asking Lacey about the wedding and how the planning was going. She started telling me her seating chart and showing me what she had planned. I was looking at the chart and Max's name was nowhere to be found. I don't love Lacey, but I'm not going to assume the worst of her, so I asked her where Max's name was, and she got suddenly quiet. "He's not going to be there," she said. "You mean not in the wedding party?" I asked. "No, he's not invited." She said it so calmly I'd assume she was talking about the weather. I kept asking her why she wouldn't invite him, but invited Caroline. She just said that she feels Caroline is more mature because she's a girl. This wedding isn't going to be child-free. Lacey has stated this multiple times. I have many little cousins who are being invited, since family is very important to us. Not inviting Max makes no sense. He's a very nice kid and very mature for his age. Much more mature than Caroline. He never causes problems, but like I mentioned earlier, there's some big issues with him not following Drew's and my dad's footsteps in football. I know Lacey is very desperate for my family's approval, so maybe outlining Max is the way to do it for her, but I have a feeling there's something more to it. After what Lacey said about not inviting Max, I stood up and started yelling at her for not including Max. She kind of just ignored what I was saying, but when I escalated, Drew came over. As he was walking over, she started to cry and make a bigger scene about it. Drew knelt down to comfort her and gave me dirty looks. Once she was inside, he turned to me and started yelling at me about being rude to her, when she's under so much stress from planning the wedding and trying to get my family to like her. I understand that my family is close-knit and kind of not welcoming to newcomers, but that doesn't excuse her behavior, and I told my brother so. I asked him why he didn't want to invite Max, and he just told me to stay out of it. Classic move of him. He called me a jerk for treating Lacey like that, then walked out. We haven't spoken since last night. I understand that yelling at her was a bit much, and I could have handled the situation differently, but I'm sick of seeing Max being left out and treated badly. I don't want to fight with Drew, but I'm standing my ground for Max's sake. Max also doesn't know about any of this yet, and I'm hesitant to tell him. My parents have stayed out of it so far, but Drew is still set on being mad at me. Am I the jerk? No, you're not the jerk for standing up and doing the right thing. Might have gone overboard with the yelling, but no. How can you exclude a child from something like this? That's cold, man. That's cold. Bitter Paramedic 531 replied, "Not the jerk, but you're yelling at the wrong person. The person you should be having a go at is your older brother. He should be the one making sure Max is included. Frankly, if my family behaved like this, I would be standing in solidarity with Max, declining my wedding invitation and taking him on a nice day out the day of the wedding." Far Nature 862 replied, "This was my first thought. F them. Skip the wedding and go out with Max for a fun-filled day and evening, including turning off both your phones so you don't have to listen to the barrage." Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to lock my cats up so my friend's boyfriend can visit my house? Look, she's my best friend, but I can't stand her boyfriend. No one can. All he does is make rude, snarky comments and complains about everything, everywhere he goes. Nothing is ever good enough, or nothing is ever as good as his stuff. I decided to have a small cookout at my house. He's made comments about its location and quality many times before. Nonetheless, we're planning to have good food, drinks, and a whole lot of other stuff to spend some time with our friends and relax a little. And they're both invited. My bestie is worried about her boyfriend's cat allergies. I have 2 cats. Both hide when people are over. She asked me to lock them in the room for the day to not upset his allergies. He's been to my house twice now and has never complained about my cats. I simply told her no. After she persisted, I reminded her that he's been around them, and their fur, which lingers around at all times in the past. I asked what he did then to manage it. She said take Benadryl. I recommend he take it again before and after his visit. She persisted, so I said I'm not locking my cats in a room for the day, and so far that's been that. Am I the jerk? I'm not sure if my dislike of her boyfriend is clouding my judgment, but I also think of how panicked and uncomfortable my cats will be, and it seems unreasonable to request that from me. Also, their discomfort doesn't really seem worth his company. I don't know. Am I the jerk? No, I don't think you are. This is your house, and as you've already pointed out, he's been over twice and had no issues with the cat fur. So, yeah, he can take his Benadryl, and, that's that. He doesn't have to come over. Tiny Nice Wolf replied, "The real issue is not the cats, but why you're letting the rude guy come to your party. Tell your friend he's been rude every single time he comes over, so he's no longer allowed over. I hope you can still come, but I understand if you can't. Getting told her boyfriend's so awful he's getting banned might be the wake-up call your friend needs." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my friend to stop telling me about his jealousy of women, especially lesbians? I, 23-year-old female, am a lesbian and have a friend, 23-year-old male, who is straight. He hates being a man, but he promises he isn't trans. According to him, women are divinely beautiful, and we don't have to try to be beautiful. To him, men are physically gross, and no non-delusional man can ever feel as beautiful as a woman. He talks about wishing he was born a girl. I feel sad during and after listening to him. I feel anxious because I don't want to do anything to make him feel worse. I told him to stop telling me about his jealousy of women, especially lesbians. He said I was being a bad friend because I'm the only one he can talk to. He said no professional can help him, but they can't make him born a girl. Am I the jerk? No, don't let him project this onto you. He does need to get a professional to help him out with whatever he's dealing with internally. I have no idea. I can't relate to it, but that would be my suggestion. SQuinn7292 replies, he promises he isn't trans. Give it a year. Not the jerk, and it sounds like he needs to talk to a professional, but as someone who is trans, the denial stage can be strong, so please be open to him if he does need to discuss something more serious. Ludwig's ear trumpet replied, I don't know, people are always very confident with they're trans and don't know it yet thing, but I spent a good deal of my childhood and teen years desperately, sincerely wishing I'd been born a boy because I felt guilty and like the world was telling me girls were weak and stupid, not because my body didn't match my gender. Envy isn't always dysphoria. Sometimes it's just thinking someone else is intrinsically better or has it easier than you. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to share my space with my cousin and her kids and planning to leave while they're not staying with us? I, 29-year-old female, co-own a home with my mom and sister. I live in the basement, which has been my private space. Today, my mom told me that my cousin from overseas, who I barely know, and her two young kids are coming to stay with us for the entire summer, and that they'll be staying in the basement with me in the spare room. I protested, and she called me selfish. I don't even know the names of my cousin's kids at all, and I value my personal space and quiet. I also work night shifts, so when I come home in the morning to sleep, I don't want to be disturbed with any noise. Also, my mom and sister are going on a 10-day cruise next month, and I was really looking forward to having the house to myself for once. My family can be pretty overbearing. When I brought this up, my mom just said, "Well, now you won't be home alone." Like that was a good thing. I told her she made this decision without considering me at all, and that I don't plan to host or entertain anyone while they're gone. For added context, the last time a cousin stayed with us from overseas, my mom pressured me into giving her money so she could shop. I'm afraid that history will repeat itself, but 3 times as much since she's bringing her kids too. At this point, I'm so upset. I'm seriously considering going to a hotel for those 10 days just to have peace. It feels like my space and comfort were completely disregarded, and I don't want to give up my personal space. Am I a jerk in this situation? Edit 2. My basement space is fully open to the upstairs, and there's no door, just a staircase. So it's not like I can lock anything or really block off my space. Plus, the laundry room is in the basement, which everyone needs access to. Edit 2. Yes, I legally co-own the home. My name is on the title and the deed. I live in the basement, which has its own living area and bathroom. There are 2 rooms down there, mine and a spare room that my brother uses when he visits like once a month, but he only stays for a weekend when he comes. That spare room is the one my mom is giving to my cousins. They won't be in my actual bedroom, but since the basement is open with no door separating it from the rest of the house, I'll basically be sharing my entire living area with people I don't know all summer. Not the jerk here. I don't think that you're being unreasonable at all for not wanting to deal with that. People you don't know, interrupting your sleep schedule. There's just very much an oil and water mixture here that's attempting to be mixed. Candyland Canada commented, "Not the time to get very specific and be very direct. Mom, I'm a part owner of this house, so I get an equal say in what happens here. I will not allow cousin and kids to stay here. I'll change the locks if necessary. Will not allow them in and will not give them any money. You should notify cousin today so that she can make other arrangements. I will not change my mind, so save your breath on trying to get me to change my mind. This is my final word on this matter." Our next story is, am I the jerk for asking my friend to stop complimenting my postpartum body? I, 31-year-old female, gave birth earlier this year. A few people have given me compliments, not sure how genuine, but I have a friend, 29-year-old female, who's very blunt with her compliments. She called my butt big. She said my stretch marks look awesome. She said she bet men look at me more now. She's called me chunky. She's called parts of me juicy. I understand trying to make the new mommy feel pretty, but I felt uncomfortable. I asked my friend to stop complimenting my postpartum body. She looked sad and told me she was just trying to help. She called me ungrateful and insecure. Am I the jerk? Well, while the intentions here might have been pure and honest on her side, chunky and juicy aren't necessarily flattering comments that you want to call someone right after they've given birth. Ladies, correct me if I'm wrong. That's kind of cringe. Bye Throwaway commented, "Not the jerk. If not wanting to be called juicy makes you insecure, then I think 95% of people are insecure. You're a person, not a steak. She needs to learn to compliment people without needlessly emphasizing sexiness. She may have been well-intended, but the delivery is so off the mark, and getting defensive puts her into jerk territory." Our next story is, am I the jerk for joking I want a week to myself? For context, my 31-year-old female, husband, 32-year-old male, broke his ankle the day before Memorial Day, which resulted in him needing surgery. With him unable to walk and on crutches, I've been doing everything for him and the kids. I've been doing all the household chores, mowing the lawn, taking kids to and from school, bringing my husband to appointments, all while working 40-hour weeks in a stressful job that just recently had 6 people leave and workload has tripled. I'm stressed, overwhelmed, and exhausted. My husband had an appointment today, and he's to start weight bearing as tolerated with his crutches and move up to the weight bearing without them over the next month. So tonight, after the kids went down, my husband and I decided to watch a movie together and eat some ice cream. After I finished my ice cream, I mentioned I wanted something salty to munch on, and he asked if I could get him some chips too. I jokingly, with a silly smile and tone, said, "I guess I can do that." And I got up to get us chips, and he said, "How will I ever repay you?" and wiggled his eyebrow in that sexy way, hinting he wants me. I put on a big smile and said, with a wink to myself. He laughed, I laughed, and went to the kitchen to get chips. I came back, and all of a sudden his demeanor changed, and he looked at me and said, "Should I go upstairs so you can start your week to yourself?" in a salty tone. I instantly was defeated. I wasn't trying to fight with him. I was making a joke, and he laughed, so I thought he understood it was a joke. I sighed, took my chips back to the kitchen, and decided to go to bed. I did not have any fight in me to deal with this. He came upstairs shortly after and said, "I'm sorry, I'm not doing okay." I didn't respond because I didn't have a response, so he says, "Are you not going to acknowledge me?" So I turn towards him and just stare at him. He then says, "I'm sorry, it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I know you're stressed and need time to yourself too." I turned back over and said it didn't matter. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Update. My husband and I talked. I apologized for my reaction of just shutting down and ignoring him and asked him about not feeling okay. We had a good conversation about our mental loads lately, and we both listened and understood the other. If I could take time off, I would, but unfortunately, I'm not able to, and I'm not in the financial position to hire outside help with my husband out of work. I appreciate everyone's perspective. When I initially shut down, I walked away from him and just needed to regroup myself before talking it through. I have very poor self-worth, so my mind instantly goes into everything is my fault mode, and my husband is fully aware of this. I'm grateful that we're able to just talk to each other, even if it takes us a minute to get there. Also, because this was brought up a lot, I declined Hooked Up about 15 minutes before we started watching the movie. I honestly didn't want to have to take another shower. And folks, this is what true marriage is all about. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the fighting, the making up, and everything in between. Nobody sucks here. This is just marriage in a nutshell. Good for you guys for working it out. Okay, Manufacturer 767 replied, "Not the jerk. You're two people who've had a rough month. He expressed gratitude for you and all you've done. He suggested Hooked Up, using body language. You responded with wanting to be alone. Maybe you felt Hooked Up was just one more thing to do, and in your exhaustion, you said something alienating. He felt rejected and gave you a verbal jab. Sounds like he was really sorry, told you he wasn't doing okay, and you turned your back on him instead of saying, 'I'm not doing okay either.' This seems to be where you are. Talk it out. Find a way to get some alone time, a few hours until he's able to be okay while you take a day. Take an afternoon off. The place will not explode if you leave Thursday at lunchtime. Hopefully you have Friday off. If not this week, then next, or sleep in and go in at noon. Take better care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to him. Give him a hug and hold each other for a minute." Our next story is, am I the jerk for lying about my income to avoid rent? Am I the jerk for lying to my parents, male and female in their 50s, about how much money I, female, 23, make so I don't have to pay them as much for rent? To give context, after college, I moved back into my parents and have been here for 8 months. Since graduating college, my parents have taken a sum of my income starting at 20%. After a couple months, I was expected to pay the Parent Plus loan, $510 monthly. A couple more months, my car payment was added, $300 monthly. All of this I think is fair and I have no issue with, except for the fact that I had to quit my job in March. I was expecting to live in the college area after I graduated, but due to outside circumstances, I could not get a place. This led to me living at home and having a 2-hour commute. After a few months, I had to toss in the towel and quit because it was nearly costing money to have the job. During this time, my parents had slowly increased my rent to 40% of my income for more expenses. When I was unemployed, my parents instead took $200 as well as the loan money. Car money was added once I got a new job. This absolutely destroyed my savings to the point I've gained thousands in credit card debt to keep up with life and expenses needed to apply for jobs. Eventually, I got a job. This is where I may be a jerk, but I lied to my parents and hide 40% of my income in an account they can't see. If they question why there's a lack of money, I may say I had 20 to 30% automatically put in savings. I just need to leave this living situation. It's a family of 5 with a 2.5 bath, living with family 24/7, limited freedoms, but most importantly, feeling like a crushing sensation of being trapped here. I understand that my parents have had lives that made them not great with money, and there are debts to be paid. In reality, paying for loans and my car payment isn't horrible, and I expect it. I just keep doing math and see how, if I lived with someone, I could have a 1-bed, 2-bath for the same price. The rent they pay also goes to food and electricity. We don't pay for water. So that makes sense a bit. Am I being a jerk for hiding the full amount I earn so I can save up to move out? Edit. Just adding extra information to clear up some common questions. The total monthly payment is $750, rent, plus $300, car, and $510, PPL. I asked for an itemized list of the 40%, but was told it wasn't needed, and they said it's what they felt was right. With that, I can only assume basic rent, electric, food, and some smaller stuff. I pay for 1/3 of the meals by myself. I pay for my own gas and car maintenance. I also can't move out right now due to having very little savings. This is unfortunate, and it's kind of like a fight or flight thing. Yeah, it's not okay to lie about things like this, but you're literally just in preservation mode right now. And it sucks, but it's understandable. So, might be disagreed with here, but I'm going to go with not the jerk. Hexcellent commented, not the jerk, and everyone saying you are for lying about your income is missing the goddamn point. Because if I'm understanding correctly, your parents started gradually increasing your rent until it was double what you were first paying, and well beyond what market value would be for a single bedroom, and didn't even give you any leniency when you were unemployed. They were totally cool with you racking up thousands in debt. OP is being financially exploited by their own dang parents. They need to lie about their current income in order to ever afford to move out. Otherwise, they're at risk of another price hike. Our next story is, am I the jerk for excluding my daughter from a movie night? I, 40-year-old male, and my wife, 39-year-old female, have 3 great kids, 13-year-old male, 12-year-old female, and 9-year-old female. Our youngest daughter doesn't handle horror very well. She can only handle Scooby-Doo, and even that's sometimes too scary for her. But she, of course, wants to see scary stuff and throws temper tantrums when we say no. Last night, my wife and our 2 older kids wanted to watch Alien, and we figured we'd watch it after our youngest daughter was in bed. Since it's summer, we've bumped her bedtime up to 9:30. After my wife and I put our daughter to bed, we went downstairs to start the movie. After the movie had started, our youngest daughter came down and asked what movie we were watching. We asked her why she wasn't in bed, and she said she heard her sister mention that we were going to watch a movie and asked if she could watch too. We told her no, because it was too scary for her, but she kept insisting that she could handle it. I eventually firmly told her no, but she kept insisting that she could handle it. So I picked her up and carried her back to her bed. She screamed and protested the whole time, saying, "No, Daddy, I want to watch the movie!" When I tucked her back in bed, she kept protesting, saying it wasn't fair to have family movie time without her. That's when I said to her, "This is not family movie time. This is a time for people who are big enough for scary movies, and you're too little for scary movies." She said, "No, Daddy, I'm big enough for scary movies," and tried to get out of bed. That's when I raised my voice and firmly told her, "No, you're too little for scary movies, and it's past your bedtime. Now, if you get out of bed again, you're in trouble." I then tucked her into bed and kissed her goodnight. Then we all watched the movie as planned. We could hear our daughter screaming and having a tantrum from upstairs for a while, but we ignored it and it did stop. I thought I handled it fine until today when my wife came to me very upset for how I handled it. She said it would have been better to just let her watch a movie that was appropriate for her with us and then put her to bed and watch Alien, because then she wouldn't have felt excluded. I disagreed because our daughter knew it was past her bedtime, but my wife still thinks I didn't handle it right. Am I the jerk? I mean, this is just the classic parenting dilemma, right? I think honestly, mom and dad are both correct here and viable solutions to the problem. Although I will say, it was past her bedtime. She came back downstairs after she had been tucked in. So for that reason, I'm going to go with not the jerk. Gift Shop Exit commented, not the jerk. You were firm, you explained the rules, and you stuck to them. Nothing wrong with that. I disagree with your wife. Why should the family sit through another movie to placate the younger daughter before watching what they wanted to see? Besides, the daughter said she wanted to see Alien, not some non-scary movie. She still would have complained. You taught your daughter that she can't get around the rules by throwing a fit. Our next story is, am I the jerk because I'm tired of catering to one daughter? Every time my husband and I make plans to visit our adult girls, two, both married and grandkids, in a 4-hour flight, I never get a response from one for days, while the other has her response for us to do with things with grandkids within a day. 30 days should be enough notice if we can visit, and there's other family we visit with also. 7 days before our trip, and still just lame excuses with no definite dates. I'm just totally over catering to this daughter. My husband, on the other hand, acts like planning makes no difference and just go with the flow. But I like the idea of where and when to visit, just over feeling rushed for the last minute. Well, if you can't make it plans, because then I look like the bad guy if we can't break other family plans to see our grandkids. It's hard for large get-togethers because of work schedules. Kitty March replied, catering to this daughter when you're the one announcing that you'll be showing up on a certain date and expecting to be sent a full itinerary of how she'll be rearranging her and her children's lives to entertain you? I had to laugh there. Guests usually get invited for visits, not just let hosts know when they're showing up. And OP replied to this, oh no, we visit for 2 weeks and multiple family members. I just always ask the 2 girls first if there are days we can see the grandkids. Even give them date nights and we can watch the grandkids for them. Then let our other family members days we're open for a lunch date or plan. We still have parents, siblings, and friends we see. I just give the kids and grandkids full vacay dates, so if they have anything open, we put them first. Our next story is, am I the jerk for asking for a gift receipt for a baby shower gift? My 28-year-old female husband, 30-year-old male, and I are having our first son later this year, and he's due on Labor Day. I had my baby shower last weekend, and it was a great event, but there was one interaction that I may be the jerk for. My husband showed up for the gift portion. When opening gifts, one gift was a baby care package and a onesie to the rival college my husband and I went to. It was given to us by a friend who went to said rival college. My husband has a pretty deep hatred of the rival school. I follow along with that since fall Saturdays at football games is our thing. When we opened this gift, my husband audibly said, oh, and I could see the what the freak look on his face. I said, I hope a gift receipt came with this. I thought it was a gag gift. My friend says, oh, no gift receipt. I was like, oh, well, son's name is never going to wear this. Then moved on to the next gift. A little awkward, but whatever. After the party, my husband threw the onesie in the trash. A few days ago, someone asked what happened with the onesie, and I told them. Well, that made it around to a few people, and I get a text from the friend saying that I'm a huge jerk. I should have just given it back to her. I was like, that's what the gift receipt comment was for, and told her my husband would never allow our son to be dressed like that. I never thought it was supposed to be a legitimate gift, but apparently it was. Am I the jerk? So without even knowing the names of these schools, I can guarantee that they're either from the South or this is Michigan and Ohio State. Americans, fellow Americans, if you know, you know, am I right? Everybody sucks here, let's be real. Electricity Biscuit 86 commented, you're the jerk, asking about a gift receipt in front of everyone as you're opening the gift? That's just tacky. And I know little children better able to hide their disappointment in a gift than your husband. Plus, you threw it out instead of donating, which is wasteful. Sounds like your friend was making a playful ribbing joke and you guys took it to a weird, awkward place. Alright everybody, that is all the time we got for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment down below. And if you want to check out any of our other videos, click the video on the right. I got nothing else for you. Get out of here. I'll see you all next time.